All right. Welcome to the Tuesday, October 26th edition of the MMAOB Daily Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Adam Martin, and I'm joined on Monday and Tuesdays by my co-host here, Mr. Big Marcel. Marcel, what's going on, man?
What's up, man? Another day of talking in MMA. So, looking forward to previewing this card with you. I'm really looking forward to this card. I think it's amazing. Plus, we have PFL tomorrow. We have Dana White Contender Series today. So, man, lots to discuss today,
I agree, man. There is quite a bit to discuss. So, again, UFC 267 this Saturday. I'm looking forward to talking about this card, too, man. This is a good card, in my opinion. So I'm looking forward to talking about this one. Then, again, like Marcel mentioned, tomorrow is PFL Championship. So we'll talk about that card. Give our picks for the winners, and then Dana White's series is tonight. We'll give our quick picks for that one. But I think we should start into the card because we have so much to talk about. We got an hour here. Let's just start into it, Marcel. Okay. So we'll start with we're going to go for UFC 267, and again, we always use UFCstats.com. Use that bout order. That is the official bout order. So let's start with the first fight of the night, Marcel. Flyweight division. We have Teixeira Ulanbekov taking on Alan Nascimento, who's making his UFC debut here. The odds for this one, Marcel. Pretty hefty odds in favor of the favorite here, Ulanbekov, minus 365, plus 305 on the underdog, Alan Nascimento. Give me your thoughts on this one. Let's start it off, Marcel.
Yeah, man. Alan Nascimento, he's a training partner of the current featherweight champion, a lightweight champion, Charles Oliveira. He recently fought. I think he fought in July, right? He fought in a gym event. He won that fight. But before that, I think he didn't fight for 2.5 years or something. Then he fought against Raulian Paiva in the Contender Series, right? And it was a great fight. It was a split decision loss for him. Paiva got signed. He didn't get signed. So now he's fighting Ulanbekov. Ulanbekov, we know he's 1-0 in the UFC with a fight against Bruno Silva, which was pretty competitive, if I can remember. Pulled out of 3 fights for reasons like visa issues, and one time because his mentor Khabib's dad passed away. He had to pull out of that fight. So now he's back. He's a very talented guy, man. To be honest, I mean he's 13-1 with 1 loss against Zelga Zhumagulov, majority decision in Fight Nights Global. In the fight, I actually thought he won. No disrespect to Zalgas. So it should be undefeated, honestly. I go with Ulanbekov here. I think he wins. Will it be a finish? I don't know. Nascimento ain't a bad fighter. He can make it very interesting, I think, but I'm going with a decision win here for the Dagestani.
Yeah, good fight to kick off the card, I think. Ulanbekov, just the one fight in the UFC, but looked pretty good against Bruno Silva, and that win's aged pretty well. Bruno's been on a tear lately, so that looks like a really good win now in hindsight. At the time, maybe not so good, but now it looks really good. Nascimento, Marcel, I got to be honest with you, man. I had to rewatch the fight with Paiva again because I didn't remember it at all. So I was watching it again last night. It was a pretty competitive fight.
Yeah.
The guy's got good submissions. That's basically his bread and butter submission game. Good ground game in general. But I do think he can get planted on his back, man. And I think that's what's going to happen here. I think Ulanbekov is submission-wise, Nascimento probably is better. But I think Ulanbekov is very good on top and seems like a guy that keeps out of trouble. Also, I think he's better on the feet and the striking too. So I really like him here, Marcel. I mean, he's a big favorite, but it's justified. And spoiler alert: there's a lot of big favorites in this card. Guys. So there's going to be a lot of favorite picks today, I'm sure. But this is one where I think the line is very justified.
I mean, a lot of Russian fighters who can't get the visa to fight in the US. Now fighting here at Fight
Finally,
Island,
after like a year away. Let me get these comments from Tristan. Tristan, stoked for your guys' predictions. Hey, thanks for being here, man. 12 Russians on the card. It's crazy, eh? Ulanbekov could be undefeated. Should have won his lone loss. Just like Marcel said. Yeah, he's good, man. I think he's really good, actually. Do I think he's the future champ? I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, I'll be honest. I never thought Brandon Moreno would be a champ either. So in this division, it's pretty wide open. I'd like to see him stay more active. I mean, he's fought once in the last, 2 years, I think. So he's got to stay more active. That's the one thing I'll say. But I like the guy. So let me get this comment, too. I just saw it myself. Colton sent it to me. Mike Perry signed with Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. So that's a big signing for them, I guess. I mean, I think it's a good move for Mike Perry. MMA is not his thing, obviously. Really struggled the last couple of fights in the UFC. It's just crazy, though. Like 2 years ago, the guy went tooth and nail with Vicente Luque, split decision, and just fell off after that. Marcel, like he looked awful lately.
Also got a win over Paul Felder,
Yeah, he beat Paul Felder, right? Split decision. So, I mean, like, geez. The guy had some good wins in the UFC, but I don't know. He just fell off a cliff somehow. Just didn't improve, and that's it. Doug Everlington. Hey, Doug, what's up, man? Good to see you guys. This weekend's going to be awesome. Loaded card for Halloween. It sure is. I really like this card. Like it's
Trivia question. What was last year's Halloween card?
Oh, it's Sylvan and Uriah Hall. I know that one. That's not even hard to. You should ask me like what was it like 12 years ago?
I don't know myself, man.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's go to the next fight here. Magomed Mustafayev against Damir Ismagulov. Another big favorite, Marcel. Minus 270 for Damir, plus 230 for Magomed. What do you think's going to happen in this one?
You know, I've always been high on Damir Ismagulov, man. Former one champion. He's 5-0 in the UFC. Debuted in 2018 against Alex Gorgees, remember?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, in this last fight, you are pretty spot on. Remember, you said like he could be having trouble in the beginning with Rafael Alves, and I think he got dropped or he got stacked, and staggered. And he won the fight later on. You know, he did well. He recovered. And Mustafayev is a very, very hard guy to measure, in my opinion, in the UFC. You know, he sometimes he looks really good. For example, against Rafael Fiziev, where he stopped him with a KO in the first round, and that was very impressive. If you look against the Brett Riddell fight, was very close. I think could have gone either way. I can't remember correctly. I think I scored it for Mustafayev, but I think Riddell could have won that one as well. Was very close. And he got choked out by Kevin Lee before that. Was really did really well in the UFC. Thing is, man, I think Ismagulov will also probably have trouble in the beginning with Mustafayev, but he should be able to win this fight, man. I think he's really a really good fighter, really all-around good, you know. The thing with Ismagulov is as well, man, he doesn't fight often enough to really make that run in the top 15, man. And maybe this is a start here, you know. I think Ismagulov will win. Not a stoppage, definitely a decision. Ismagulov decision, but will be a good fight, I think.
Yeah, I like the matchup. It's a good fight. It's just that Magomed hasn't fought enough recently. You know, that's the problem I have with this guy. He's very talented. I mean, look what he did. It's crazy, right? Everyone talks about Rafael Fiziev and Brad Riddell. I mean, this guy went toe-to-toe with Brad Riddell, lost a close decision, and he knocked out Fiziev with a crazy spinning back kick that went through the guy's guard and knocked him out. It was a really, really good knockout. It's just that, you know, 6 years in UFC, Marcel has 5 fights.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we haven't, like, there's no proof that he really is, you know, improving. Other than the Riddell fight where he looked good but still lost. And the guy he's actually a little bit older than me. He's a month older. He's 33. You know, I still think that Damir is a good fighter. I know he got dropped in the last fight, but he recovered really well. And then obviously you saw what happened after that. The guy is just really good, Marcel. He's kind of one of those guys that I feel like you don't really want to bet against, you know, Marcel? Like, so how can I pick against Damir Ismagulov? I can't. I mean, the guy's good. And you look at the odds on him compared to some of the other big favorites, like his odds are a little lower. So I almost feel like there could be value here. Having said that, Magomed's a really good fighter, great striker. He definitely has a puncher's or kicker's chance, I guess, in this case. But I think Damir's the better grappler, Marcel, and overall the better fighter. And I think he probably wins the decision. So that's what I'm thinking is going to happen in this one. All right, let's go to the next fight here, guys. We have a middleweight bout between Hugh Zhong and Andre Petrovsky, who's taking the fight on short notice for Alan Amedovski. That guy got sick of COVID, I want to say, earlier this year. The fight got canceled, and then second time visa issues, I guess. I have no idea, but the fight got canceled. That guy hasn't fought in forever. Hugh Zhong hasn't fought in like 3 years. Marcel makes his return here against Petrovsky. And, you know, I got to be honest, guys, like I was going to pick this guy against Amedovski because I think there is a little bit of upside with this guy. But it's tough, man. It's picking against Petrovsky, who's just really dangerous, you know? So for me, Marcel, I'll just say it right now, like I'm going to go with Petrovsky in this fight because he's obviously proven that he can win in the UFC. He just did it. I still have question marks for this guy. I don't think he looked amazing against Michael Gilmore. And Zhong does have some upside here. He hasn't fought in a while. He might actually improve because he's dropping a couple weight classes. But Marcel, the guy I saw in the UFC wasn't very good, and I don't think he can hang in this fight for what I've seen. So I'll go Petrovsky, but there is a little bit of unknown because this guy hasn't fought in so long, Zhong. Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I think when Amedovski pulled out of that fight, I think like 95% of the middleweight division wanted to have that fight, you know, against Hugh Zhong. We saw him in the UFC before, didn't look good at all. We know he's back to middleweight. He trained a lot in the Shanghai PI, you know. I don't know, man, what to think about the dude. I really have no idea. I picked him as well against Amedovski. Definitely not going to pick him against Petrovsky. I think Petrovsky likely submits him, man, in the first or second round. I don't think it will be even competitive, or he has to be really, really improved. And I doubt that, but maybe I'm wrong. But I'm definitely going Petrovsky in this one.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I'm organizing an interview right now at the same time. I'm doing an interview with this guy. So I'll just mention right now for Spectation Sports, there's a boxing event this weekend. I'm interviewing two guys. One guy, Ryan Antle, he's fighting Jeremy Horn, the UFC veteran in boxing. Okay. And the other guy's name is Joseph Boris, and he's fighting Johnny Case, the former UFC fighter in boxing this weekend. So that's if you see me going down, it's because these guys are texting me right now and we're organizing it. So I apologize. Let's go to the next fight here, Marcel. Makwan Amirkhani against Leron Murphy. And again, another big favorite here, Leron Murphy, minus 300, plus 250, Makwan Amirkhani. Give me your thoughts on this one, because I definitely agree that Leron Murphy should be favored, but Marcel, he has been taken down, and Makwan's a good grappler, so give me your thoughts on this fight, man.
I know, but I've been really impressed by Leron Murphy, man. Despite his UFC debut where he got a draw, I think he shouldn't get a draw there, but he got one, and after that he impressed me against Ricardo Ramos and against Douglas Silva de Andrade. I mean, if you look at Makwan Amirkhani, 1-3 in his last 4 fights, two decisive losses, in my opinion, besides the first one against Burgos and against Barbosa. Against Camuela Kurga, I actually thought he won the fight. I don't know if you agree with me there, but I thought
it was a close fight. Here's the thing about that fight. So, honestly, I thought he probably did win just based on how we watch fights, but I think the judges might have did a good job, when I look back at the stats for that fight, because you look at the strikes landed, it was 25-100 for Camilla Kirk. So, yes, Makwan had 6.5 minutes of control, but that's a big strike difference. So, I don't think it's a terrible decision, honestly. It wasn't terrible. Yeah, I think it's fine, actually. Probably, if anything, I think the judges might have been sharper there than people like me that thought Makwan won, because the stats backed them up on that one. Anyways, go ahead, Marcel.
Okay, Makwan was supposed to fight Tristan Connolly on this card, so Leron took this fight on short notice. Leron was actually supposed to fight, I think, Charles Jourdain a month ago or something. I see more upset than Leron Murphy, man. Although, like you said, man, Amirkhani can mix in the takedowns and maybe control him on the ground, but I'm willing to take that risk. I take Leron Murphy, and I think he gets a stoppage win late in the 3rd round, TKO.
Yeah, I'm still going with Leron. Don't get me wrong. I have to pick the guy. I just, the line is getting a little bit high now. That's all I'm saying, because I like Leron. Don't get me wrong, Marcel. He's been good. He's looked good in the UFC. He's coming off a couple of nice wins. That win over Ramos I picked him as an underdog there. It was a great pick as he knocked him out. But I'm just saying, he was taken down 6 times by Zubair in that one fight, right? He lost that fight. He didn't lose. It was a draw, but it was close. It's just that he got taken down all those times in that fight, and even Andrade took him down. So I'm just saying, Makwan could make this a gritty fight, and man, he can sub anyone, So I don't really like Makwan Amirkhani. I'll be honest with you. I don't think he's a great fighter, but I just think stylistically there is a chance he could win this fight if he implements the grappling. Go ahead, Will.
I also don't really like Makwan's cardio, I think, man.
That's the other thing I was about to mention, Marcel. The longer this fight goes, he's probably going to be in trouble, but I think there is that chance he could submit him in the first round. I really do think there's a chance. That's the only thing I'm worried about this fight, because the guy's nasty on the ground. Let's be honest, guys. He can wrap up a neck really quick. But like you said, Marcel, that cardio faded bad in that last fight.
He can wrap up a neck like he eats apple.
What is with guys, or even girls too, when they're on top and they gas out? That's really bad in my opinion. Why is this happening so much lately? We saw it with Andrew Sanchez. Grant Dawson did this. Gina Mazzini, when she fought Priscilla Cachoeira, she had 2 rounds of top control and got gassed. But what makes you tired when you're on top? You should be less tired, right?
I mean, I don't know. I even get tired when I have to walk up 3 stairs. So
it's not like my cardio is good, so I can't say anything. All right, let me get these comments. Doug says Amirkhani's top, but I think Murphy gets the win. I think so too, probably. Glenn, hey Glenn, what's up? He says Amirkhani's fought some high quality guys. Seems mentally beaten. Sure does. That last fight too. All right, let's go to the next fight. Shamil Gamzatov against Michael Leksiak. Interesting fight, light heavyweight division. Odds minus 142 for Shamil, plus 122 for Michael. What are your thoughts on this one, man? Interesting fight. Shamil's second fight hasn't fought in a while, and Leksiak coming off kind of a controversial loss, I guess, or win, I should say, over Modestas Bukauskas. What are your thoughts on the fight?
This is really a fight. I'm like, this can be such a bad fight. You know what I mean? This can become such a bad fight. It can be also a really interesting one. But, man, I mean, if Gamzatov going to try to wrestle and Oleksiejczuk likely going to try this as well, it's going to be like, I see a lot of cage hanging in this one for some reason. A lot of trying to dirty box, to try to get in the clinch for some reason. This fight has split decision written all over it, in my opinion. A very close fight. I like to give Gamzatov a slight edge, but man, I mean, I really have a bad read on this fight. I'm going with Gamzatov. I don't even gonna go in depth on this fight because I don't really see it. Gamzatov a split decision, but I don't know, man. Really weird fight to me, this one.
That's kind of what I felt at first, but I actually went back and watched games. I got to be honest with you, I completely forgot how that fight went with Clinton and Brady. It wasn't.
Yeah, he lost that one, in my opinion.
It was close. It wasn't the most exciting fight, and that was his first career. Or no, he didn't lose actually, but yeah, I mean, it could have been his first career loss. The guy hasn't lost yet. That's the thing. He hasn't lost yet. You got to remember that. Like he hasn't. There's no path to beat him yet. So I got to be honest, Marcel. My initial thought was I kind of remember that fight and was like, I wasn't too impressed. Michael Leskiak's been more active, he's a younger guy, everything. Good boxer, obviously good ground game too. But I went back and watched Gamzatov's fights, like because I don't really even remember doing a tape study on this guy the first time he fought. And I was pretty impressed. I got to be honest, Marcel. I thought he looked pretty good. I think this guy's pretty good. He has a lot of power. He's a big dude. He's hard to hit. And the guy, he's unbeaten. He's got like okay wrestling from top. He's a powerful guy. Marshall, I gotta be honest with you, man. The more I looked into this fight, the more I like the favorite in this one in Gamzatov. And the line is going down. It's actually not going up like all the other lines. It's going down. So if this line keeps going down, I'll probably end up betting on this guy because I do think he probably wins the fight. I think he's the better fighter. And honestly, like I just feel safer with him over Michael Leksiak, who's lost a couple times and probably should have lost 3 in a row. Whereas a guy that's coming off a long winning streak, having said that, long layoff too. So that's the worry. But I like this guy, Marcel. I think he wins. I think he's better than what I thought. I'll be honest.
Do it.
I might. I want to wait for the line to see where it goes. Yeah. But I'm not saying he's amazing by any means, but I think he's pretty good. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to the next fight here. We go to Leski Desantos against Benoit Sandonee, who's making his UFC debut. It's a welterweight fight here, Marcel. The odds for this one: Leski Desantos -220, Benoit +180. What do you think?
I'm so happy you didn't say St. Denis like some people do. Benoit Sandonee. I actually saw his second pro fight live. I was there. Was in Belgium. He got brought in. Actually, many of those guys got brought in that event to lose to the home fighters. And he was supposed to fight. He was fighting Artur Stepaniak, who is a good fighter as a Polish-Belgian guy. And he was supposed to win that fight. It was for a title. But Benoit Sandonee, he looked great, and he won that fight. So after that, he did very well in Brave. He actually got a very good win against Luan Santiago, which I think is a really good fighter, in my opinion. Also Mario Zaid. Thing is, man, Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos lost the last fight against Sadikov. I actually thought he won that fight, in my opinion, but I don't know how you look at it. He has actually looked great, Zaleski, despite his fight against Jin Liang, where he got knocked out in the third round. I think that was also in China, and I think he was a pretty big favorite in that fight, if I can remember correctly. I think as long as Leski can keep it standing, he will have the better shot here. Sandonee is pretty good on the ground, in my opinion, but still, I'll go with Zaleski, man. Had better opponents, more experienced. Has looked overall pretty good, in my opinion. I'm going with Zaleski here, man. Will he get a finish here? I don't know. Let's say a TKO finish in the second round for Eliseu Zaleski dos Santos.
Yeah, this is a great fight. I like this one. So I got to be honest, like I didn't know much about this guy at all. I had to watch his fights, and I was just really impressed, man. I mean, this guy's a beast. Call him God of War, and I can see why. I mean, the guy is born for fighting. It looks like he's a beast, man. Marcel, he's an absolute monster with the grappling. He gets you to the ground, he gets your neck really fast. And what I like about him is he's relentless with the takedowns. Like he's always going for it, even in the fights where I want to say the one you were talking about, the Arthur fight. I want to say he was struggling a little bit in that fight and came back and won. Right? He went and freaked out. I was watching it on YouTube, Marcel. It's on there. You can watch it yourself. So I don't know if I saw you in the crowd or not, but I've been I've been impressed by this guy, man. I think he looks really good. Like this is a step up, obviously. Like that's the thing, right? Zaleski's been in the UFC, he has a lot of experience now. He has good wins in the UFC. Sean Strickland, Max Griffin, those are good wins. I mean, he's a good fighter. It's hard to against them, but this guy is so good with the grappling that I do think there's a chance he can win this fight. So I'm going back and forth, Marcel. My lean is a little bit towards the underdog in this one too. I'm kind of leaning towards Benoit Sandonee. I think this guy's grappling is that good, and I think the UFC's the matchmakers see something here. They're like, you know what, let's give this guy a shot against the veteran and see how good he is. This guy's only 25. Leski's getting up there in age, 34 now. He's not super old by any means, but, he is coming off a couple losses in the last 2-3 fights. So I do think he's on a bit of a decline at this point in his career. And again, I do see some holes in the ground, like Jin Liang had him down on the ground a couple times in that fight. Even Vendramini took his back in that fight before he got knocked out. So I think this guy Benoit, if he really implements this grappling-based game plan, go in this fight. So that's the lean I have right now, Marshall. This guy's nasty, and I recommend you guys go watch his fights on YouTube. He's really fun to watch. That knee bar submission was nasty. Go ahead. Sorry,
you're right swaying me, man.
Guy's good, man. I was really impressed. I had no idea. Marcel, I've never seen this guy fight before. I'm just being honest, and I watched his fights and I was impressed. Now I just gotta check myself sometimes because again, he's not in the UFC. He's not fighting UFC caliber competition, but the guys he's fighting are decent. They're not scrubs. They're not 0-0. They're guys with like a lot of experience. So that's why I like him here because he's not been fighting scrubs. Am I swaying you?
Man, yeah, man. Normally I'm not easily to sway, but I'm like, I saw that Vendramini, how easily he took Zaleski's back, and I think Sandonee can do that as well, actually. So you're kind of swaying me here. I have to look deeper into this. So yeah, you're kind of swaying me here, man. That doesn't happen often, to be really honest. So you did it once with Rose against Zhong, remember? And it worked out very well because I thought Zhong first, and then I went back and forth. I was like, why the hell do I pick Zhong? I should pick Rose,
Yeah,
so
I remember that one. Yeah, I did.
You did it once.
I might be wrong about this one because I think Zaleski's good. I really like Denis. I think he's good. And again, there's a lot of underdogs in this card that are, I think, live. Like, there's a lot of big favorites that should win. This guy, it's undefeated. Great ground game. Now, the only thing I'm not worried about, but I would have liked it better if this fight was in the Apex because it's a smaller cage. But even in the big cage, I like what I've seen from this guy. He just seems like a beast, man. Like, he's one of those guys that you have to kill to beat, kind of, from what I've seen. So I like it, man. I really like him, Benoit Sandonee, Marcel. All right, and I like this guy too in the next fight. Let's talk about this guy, Albert Doria. Talking about taking on Roman Kopylov here, guys. This fight is the odds for this one -320 now for Doria, +260 for Kopylov. So really no surprise. I mean, we all saw Contender Series. I think it was earlier this month, right? Maybe last month. The guy just completely steamrolled the dude, and we're all looking at it. And I'm like, is this Khamzat Chimaev part 2? Like, this guy's a beast, Marcel. And I mean, I guess I'll start with this breakdown. Like, this guy's been fighting pretty good competition for a while now. Like, he's a longtime veteran of the sport. We talked about it, Marcel. Remember we said, like, this guy had fought Professor X like 10 years ago, like in his second or third fight. This guy fought like Ramazan Ameev and Tokov. He got knocked out by those guys, but he hasn't lost since then. And the grappling is out of this world, and the dominance on the ground is it's really, really fun to watch. Great ground and pound, heavy ground and pound, nasty submissions, super aggressive. I really like this fighter, Marcel. And he's in his prime right now. Like, he's ready for the UFC. Like, I think he's 30-something, right? So he's ready to be here now, and he's 32. He should have been here a while ago. That fight with Clifford Starks is very impressive. I recommend watching that one. That blew me away. How like Clifford Starks is a guy that had some close fights for the UFC, and this guy destroyed him. Let's talk about Kopylov here. I don't want to completely overlook this guy, and I don't think we should, guys, because this dude does have some power, and all of his wins are by knockouts. So that's the thing with this fight. Like, if Doria, if he doesn't get the finish quickly, what happens if he gets tired? Because this guy's almost all his wins are in like the second, third, or fourth round, which is really bizarre almost. The guy's obviously got good cardio. So that's the only question I have is if Doria doesn't get the finish in the first round, does he gas out? I think he does, though, Marcel. I believe in this guy. And again, seeing Robertson submit Kopylov, I got to go with Doria to get a submission. That's what I'm thinking happens here. I hope he does in the first round, because if he doesn't, then I do think there could be a little bit of a worry of him getting tired. But yeah, Marcel, I got to go with Doria after seeing what he looked like in Contender Series. What do you think?
I'm going to give you a bold statement. I think Doria is at this moment top 8 in the world, man. That's how good I think
he is. Top 8 in the world?
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's really good. And the thing is, he wasn't able to fight in the US also because of visa issues. That's why it took so long. He didn't fight for 3 years, I think, before I got the Contender Series. In my opinion, he's a guy we shouldn't have go through the Contender Series to get in the UFC, and you saw how easily he beat Caio Bittencourt, which is a good fighter in my opinion, So I think he have his way with Kopylov, man. I mean, I was always high on Kopylov when I saw him fight Nice Global, came to the UFC, and then got submitted by Carl Roberson. I was shocked. I tell you honestly, I was shocked. That he lost to Roberson, and he's not going to win against Duraev, man. Duraev is really good, and I expect Duraev also to get a finish here. I don't know which round, but he get a finish here, man, for sure.
I don't think so either. I'm just saying, like, this guy has been knocked out 3 times. He has lost, guys. It's not like he hasn't. But again, he's improved since then, and he looked great in that fight. So I think he wins. Doug says it's going to be a long night for Kopylov if Doria gets to the ground. I think it's going to be a short night, actually. I think he finishes him quickly. I know what you mean, Doug. I just think he would finish him quick. All right, next fight. How about this one, Marcel? We got this fight, interesting one. Zubair Tokugawa against Ricardo Ramos. Right now we have Tokugawa minus 160, Ramos plus 140. What do you think?
Yeah, the really fun thing about Zubair Tukhugov is that I still think he should have been undefeated in the UFC. I think the Moicano fight, really close, could have won that one, could have lost that one. So it's close. So I actually, for me, it's a close fight. I see split decision. Split decision doesn't always mean it was a close fight. It can also be a fuck up by one of the judges, that should be unanimous. I remember that one that it was a close fight, could have gone both ways. The Hakeem Dawood fight, actually, I think he won the first 2 rounds. And I think Dawood won the 3rd round. And for some reason, he really coasted in that 3rd round. And that pretty much cost him the fight because he thought he had 2 rounds in the back, which I thought he had as well. If you look at all other things he done, and also, man, the Lerone Murphy man, we talked about that just like a few minutes ago. He won that fight actually as well. So, but the only thing is, if you look specifically to his record, his last 6 years, he has only 1 win against Kevin Aguilar, and that was a good win in my opinion. And plus, he got USADA, I think, for 2 years as well, Zubair. Ricardo Ramos, this fight was actually supposed to happen earlier, didn't happen. I mean, Ramos has looked pretty well against Aljo, against guys like Garagori, but against guys like Murphy and Nurmagomedov, who I ranked a little bit higher than him, he didn't look good at all, in my opinion. We know now it's at 145. Still, Tukhugov is a better fighter, in my opinion. So I'm going Zubair Tukhugov all day. I'm going with Tukhugov win, actually with a stoppage here. I think he stops him in the 3rd round, late 3rd round.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a chance he could stop him. I will say that I like Ramos, but the one problem, obviously, is the durability has been finished a couple times. So fight with Murphy ends up on his back, and for some reason just wanted to play in the guard of Murphy, which was a stupid decision, gets pounded out. And then the Nurmagomedov fight, it was like a spinning back kick to the body. And I almost wonder if, because he was at 135 cutting all that weight, that he couldn't take a kick like that. This is a competitive fight, I think, Marcel. Ramos is good, man, and he really surprised me in the last fight against Algio. He looked really good in that fight, had 8 takedowns, dominated with the grappling. And again, he's only 26, so he's a guy who's improving in front of our very eyes. And, he's 6-2 now in the UFC. He's been around for a while. So I've been impressed with him. Tukhugov also, pretty impressive at times, 4-2-1 record. But, he's been in the UFC for 7 years and only has 7 fights. Marcel doesn't fight that often.
That's true.
And, I think he's a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's got good grappling and everything. But I think there's a little bit more upside here with Ramos, to be honest with you. And I've liked the improvements I've seen with this guy, especially in that last fight. And overall, I think he's looked pretty good lately, except for that Murphy fight. So, again, it's the card with a lot of favorites they're going to win. This is one underdog I do think has a realistic chance to win because he has a path to victory with grappling. And also, I think the striking is pretty good, too. I don't think he has as much power, obviously, as Zubair, but he can match him in pace, man. Zubair is one of those guys that's kind of inactive on the feet sometimes, which I think that Ramos could take advantage of that. So, Marcel, again, I expect a lot of the Russians to win on this card, but I think this is a chance where one of the underdogs can pull it off. So I'll take Ramos, guys, and probably decision. I think you can grapple him, but maybe submit him too. You never know. Let me get these comments. ACM Hockey says middleweight division needs new contenders. Duraev could be that. Maybe. The guy's really good. How do you think the common opponent Murphy factors in the Tukhugov Ramos fight? Ramos finished bad where Tukhugov almost beat Murphy. I mean, it's definitely interesting, but again, I don't think you could play MMA math. It just doesn't always work. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll see. Maybe it does work in this case. I don't know. I do think Ramos can win this fight. This is a good thing from Kevin. He's just saying it's not Visa, it's Visa. So
yeah, I replied to him.
Oh, you did? Okay, he did. Okay, you replied. All right. Let's go to the next fight. Last prelim. Amanda Ribas, Verna Jandiroba. Right now for this fight, Marcel, close odds. Actually, some of the closest odds in the card. Minus 160 for Ribas, plus 140 for Verna Jandiroba. What do you think?
Yeah, good question. I think Verna has looked pretty well in the UFC so far, man. I mean, her debut against Carla Esparza wasn't good at all. I think she got control on the ground too much, which I gave Verna more of a chance against Carla. After that, she had four fights, won three. Two with pretty much ease, in my opinion. The Kanaka Murata, she did very well as well. And in the Dern fight was really close, I remember. I think actually it could have been 2-1 for Verna, so that was a really close fight. If you look at Ribas, she has done well in the UFC until she fought Marina Rodriguez, dominated first round with her grappling, and got knocked out in the second round. So the thing is, they have a common opponent with Mackenzie Dern,
Mm-hmm.
I think Ribas won clearly against Dern. Verna Jandiroba, she had more problems, but she could have won that fight as well. It was a close fight. MMA mat never works, so we can't use that actually, but it's a fun measurement kind of thing to look at. I think it's a super close fight, man. I think people don't give Verna Jandiroba the respect that she deserves. I think Amanda gets much more respect than her. Man, it's super close. I kind of lean slightly with Amanda, but I wouldn't be surprised if Verna wins this fight. I think it will be super close. Don't see a finish here. I'm going with a decision win for Amanda, but I would never bet on this fight.
Chris is asking, is 2 of the better grappler? I mean, it's competitive. It's close. I would say it's close. I think that Ramos has used his grappling, utilized it better. I mean, on paper, maybe 2 of is. He's still a good grappler, too. Don't get me wrong. I think that Ramos will be slightly better at the grappling. So that's one of the reads I have on the fight, but I wouldn't be surprised that I was wrong with that ultimately, because 2 of is a good grappler too. Okay, so my thoughts on this one, again, MMA math, right? Like, does it work here? I don't know. Hard to say. I mean, so my initial thoughts on this one, Marcel, were, I really like Ribas. I think she'll bounce back. I liked what she was doing before the fight with Rodriguez. Even in that fight, she was winning that fight and then got caught and knocked out, right? She was winning the fight. It's just, this is a different matchup, Jandiroba is really good in the ground. Like, she's nasty, and she's also good at, like, reversing position, not getting submitted, getting on top of you, and she could sweep. Amanda Ribas potentially as well. And this fight goes to the ground on the feet, very aggressive, coming off it's not really a knockout, it's like an injury, but still, she looked good in that fight. But the grappling, I still find it could be a concern for me, like the takedown defense. So I do think Amanda's a better wrestler, and I think that she'll probably end up being on top position more in this fight and win the decision. But this fight was a little bit close. When I looked into it, Marcel was a little tougher than I initially thought, because Verna is a pretty underrated fighter, and she has good grappling herself, and she's pretty gritty on the feet too. So I think it's a close fight, but I would lean slightly towards Amanda Ribas. Doug says Jandiroba, I think, beats her. She's sharp despite the loss to Esparza. She is good. I think she's quite good. She is good. So I wouldn't be surprised she pulled it off, but I'm going to lean towards Ribas. Okay, let's go to this fight. Main card, Magomed Ankalaev against Volkan Oezdemir. And odds pretty high in this one, minus 290. Magomed Ankalaev, plus 245 Volkan Oezdemir. Give me your thoughts.
I love Magomed Ankalaev, man. Dude is great. I've said that to you even before he signed with the UFC, or I don't know if I said it to you, but I said it to many people before I signed with the UFC. He made his debut, absolutely dominated Paul Craig, was supposed to get a 30-24 scorecard, I think. 3-10-8 rounds, and then gets submitted in the last second. Gets in the triangle choke in the last 8 seconds. It's crazy. But after that, man, he has looked really good. In the UFC, I think he defeated Marcin Pragno with a head kick. Abreu, Lunjambula, Kutilaba twice. We all know where the first fight went, and against Krylov. Oezdemir. He came crazy in the UFC, remember, with that no time thing, and he knocked out everybody, then got stopped by Cormier. After that, he had some bad luck with decisions as well. I think he won the Reyes fight. He didn't get that one. Went back to how do you say that, guys? To the drawing board or whatever. And then he got wins over Latifi and a split decision win over Alexander Rakic. Lost to, was also a close fight, by the way, lost to Prohaska. The thing is, I think Ankalaev could be top 6 at this moment in the light heavyweight division. Oezdemir has been there. Don't see him really come back there at this moment. I think Ankalaev wins this one. I think he knocks Oezdemir out in the second round. Yeah, I like Ankalaev a lot too, man. He's good. And, the guy's really just bounced back from that first loss. Because, man, I remember watching that fight, couldn't believe he tapped out with 1 second left. Like, it still blows my mind. It was like the biggest quick draw I've ever seen in the UFC. Like, it was unbelievable. 1 second, buddy. He would have won the fight. So, and also that took like 1.5-2 years from his how do you say that, from his climbing to the rankings of the UFC.
Yeah,
that
it
he
really
lost
did slow
his
his ascent up the rankings. But I mean, the guys look good lately, right? I will say though, the Nikita Crowley fight was a little closer than we thought, probably. But he still won the fight, and obviously before that, he knocked out like a couple of guys in a row. Volkan, you got some power too, obviously, as we've seen. And I mean, the guy's pulled off some upsets, man. He really has, Marcel. He's pulled off like 3 or 4 in his career. But I don't know. I don't really trust the guy anymore. Coming off a knockout loss, coming off a long layoff. He's obviously got a puncher's chance here, Marcel. But Ankalaev, one thing I noticed, he's so hard to hit, and I think he's just gonna. He'll probably be the one who knocks out Uzumir, to be honest with you. So either a TKO decision. But I like Ankalaev in this fight. I don't think the odds are too high, though a lot of people do. Volkan's a good fighter, but I believe in Ankalaev, and I think he could be up to like minus 300, minus 400 in this fight. I think he wins all day. I really like him here, Marcel. The guy's really good. Doug says Magomed's going to sleep Volkan. He has been the same since he lost to DC for the belt. I actually agree with that. That fight was it was one of those fights that really probably just kind of showed that he's not at that championship level. He just hasn't looked the same since then. He has obviously picked up some wins, like he beat Rakic, which was a good win on paper, and Latifi too. But again, a couple of losses. I mean, the fight with Smith, the Reyes fight was close. I think some people thought he won. The guy's good. Don't get me wrong. He's a good fighter, Marcel. I just think Ankalaev's even better. All right, Let's go to Jin Liang versus Khamzat Chimaev. The return of Khamzat, and minus 550 for Khamzat, plus 425 for the Leech. I know you think these odds are too high, right?
Yeah, those are too high. Yeah, but you want me to break it down?
Yeah, of course.
Khamzat Chimaev, I think he's a great fighter, man. I really like how he fights. He is relentless. Is good on the ground. Stand-up looked pretty well, what I saw so far. He fought in Brave before as well, where he looked amazing. And he didn't fought bad fighters, man. He fought a guy like Ikram Aliskerov, which is also a good fighter. I mean, Jin Liang, he did very well in the Santiago Ponzinibbio fight. He knocked him out, where Santiago came back after 2 years, I think. And Santiago didn't look like himself, in my opinion. No disrespect, nothing to take away from Jin Liang, because that was a great win for him. Thing is, if Jin Liang gets a step up in competition, he not always shows that he can do it. You know what I mean? He is definitely a pretty good fighter. But the Santiago Ponzinibbio win was, I think, his first big win outside of Japan or outside of China. So listen, man, people are gonna be pissed at me, but I think Chimaev is really that good. Has been how do you say that? Has been. He's really as good as people say he is.
The hype is real, as we say.
The hype is real, in my opinion. So, yes, I'm going with Chimaev here. And I think Chimaev knocks him out, to be honest. TKO, ground and pound.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, how do you go against this guy? I mean, the guy looked like probably the best fighter in the world when he came on the scene last year. But, of course, a year layoff, really bad COVID. He literally retired from the sport, said he was done with it. I don't know. I'd like to think that he was emotional. It was an emotional time for him, and I'd like to think he's going to come back and perform here. I mean, I don't think he would take the fight if he was anywhere not close to 100%. So I expect him to come back healthy, and as long as he does, I think he cleans up and wins this fight for sure. I mean, Jin Liang's a good fighter, man. We know, guys. He has really good knockout power. Like, he's an underrated guy. A lot of bonuses in his career too. I noticed. Like, guy wins a bonus like almost every other fight. It's a fun guy to watch. But one problem is the takedown defense, 59%. And, mostly in his career, he's fought strikers, I've noticed. Like, they mostly paired him up with strikers, but the few grapplers he fought, he struggled a little bit. Like, Neil Magny's a guy with good grappling. He struggled there. Jake Matthews is another guy. And also, Keita Nakamura submitted him. So, I'm kind of thinking that Chimaev takes him down, submits him, Marcel. That's what I'm thinking. I knockout's possible, but I'm actually leaning towards a submission. And I was looking at the odds for that today. By the way, Chimaev's all of his wins are by finish, so he'll probably win by finish in this fight, almost very likely. The odds on him inside the distance it's minus 175 delay juice. That's better than minus 550, so I think that's the way to go there. The other thing is to look at the props. So the knockouts plus 150, but the submissions plus 310. And I really think he's got a chance to submit him with like a neck crank or rear naked choke, Marcel. So I might throw up like a part of a unit on that, the submission, just because I think that's how he's going to win the fight. I really like him in this fight, though. And I don't think the fight goes the distance, Marcel. I think someone gets finished. If Lee wins, I don't think it'll be a decision. I think he's going to catch this guy and knock him out. But I'll see it happening. I think Chimaev's real. Glenn says he hasn't bought a ticket for the Chimaev height chain yet. Those would be a good test. It sure will be. I mean, Lee's a good fighter, but I believe in Chimaev. And again, I think that win over Gerald Mearshart looks a lot better, Marcel, doesn't it? After Mearshart just beat Miradov, that looks really good. Doug says they figured Ponzio against Lee got the knockout. The odds are too high. It's disrespectful to Leach, but I think Kamzat is going to minus who he is. I agree. The odds they look high, but realistically, he's probably going to win the fight. So they have to keep it somewhat high. And this is what the books do. They try to encourage the two-way action, right? Like there's a lot of people out there, Doug, that are looking at that plus 425 now and being like, is it worth taking a shot on Lee? Knowing he's probably going to lose because the odds are so good, right? But yeah, I think Kamzat's real. I think he's great. All right, next fight. Go to the heavyweight division. Alexander Volkov against Marcin Tybura. Volkov minus 275, Tybura plus 235. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this can also be just like the Oleksiejczuk against Gamzatov, a very boring fight. If Tybura gets the upper hand with the wrestling, he can hold on Volkov, he can ride out a decision. But can he do that? Can he do it for 3 rounds? Because I think Volkov's stand-up is better than Tybura's stand-up, And overall, I think Tybura might win the first round, with taking him down. But I think Tybura gasses lately. I see Volkov winning lately with probably a TKO or a decision win. So I would go with Volkov in this one. But I don't know, man. I mean, it pretty much depends on Tybura's cardio, I think. If his cardio is on point and he can go for 3 rounds, he can hold him onto the ground. He can win this fight. But I think I'm going with Volkov in this one. But I'm not sure. Far from sure.
Yeah, so I gotta be honest. My initial thoughts were the odds were too high, and I'm looking at Tybura because the guy obviously is a good wrestler. He's shown that in the last couple of fights, but I don't know, Marcel. Honestly, like his chin still really worries me. Even that last fight, man, Walt Harris was rocking him bad, and then Walt gassed after about a minute. Volkov won't gas. Volkov got 25 minutes of gas, and I think that's the difference here, the cardio. Even if Tybura gets him down, which I think he could, especially in the first round when they're both fresh, I think there's a chance Tybura could get him down. But I don't think he'll finish on the ground. And I think as the fight where it's on, Volkov will be doing a lot of damage to him on the feet and piece him up and probably stop Tybura. So, again, my initial instinct when I looked at this one was Tybura could wrestle him, but, because of the Curtis Blades fight where he got taken down so many times. But, I don't know, Marcel. I'm not convinced. And honestly, like, I know he beat Harrison Hardy by TKO, but he did lose the first round, or he lost the first round against Hardy in the stand-up. He was outstruck. Hardy gassed out. He got him down. Volkov's not going to gas. I got to go with Volkov in this fight. So let me get these comments. If Kamzat wins, will he get matched with Wonder Boy next? He's asking who we pick to win that fight. I mean, if Kamzat wins and does what we're going to think he's going to do, I think it'd be hard to pick him, not pick him against like most guys, except for like the truly elite guys like Usman. But I think Wonder Boy is good, but he did show some holes in that last fight against Burns with the takedown defense against a guy who's not the biggest welterweight. Kamzat's a guy coming down from middleweight, remember, guys? So he's a big dude. Who would you pick in that one, Marcel? Like in a potential fight?
Probably Kamzat, man. But man, people are crazy, People call Gilbert Burns boring because of that last fight. I'm like, this dude did exactly what he had to do to win against Wonder Boy. You can't go and strike with the dude because only Pettis won that fight, and that was a one-punch knockout, and he was losing until that point, So you can't fight Wonder Boy almost in a different way, because Wonder Boy always looks good if you go strike with him. So I think that was a good thing by Burns, and I think Kamzat can do that as well,
Yeah, no, I agree with that too. All right, let's go to the next fight here. I mean, the odds are pretty crazy. This one, Islam Makhachev right now, guys, minus 600, and Dan Hooker plus 450. But I'll be honest with you. Oh, sorry, I missed a couple comments. I'll get them in a second. But for this one, it's like, Marcel, I mean, how can we really pick Dan Hooker? We just can't do it. I can't do it. I'm gonna read your mind and say you're not gonna pick Dan Hooker in this fight either. Like, Dan's great, right? Dan's awesome. He's a warrior. He'll take a fight on short notice. He'll fly halfway across the world. He's a beast. I love the guy. He's become a fan favorite. But Islam, I think, has his way with him, man. I think Islam just controls the fight with the takedowns. The only question is, does he submit him or not? I don't think so. I think it's going to go the distance. Dan's wrestling and just his overall submission defense, everything's really improved and tightened up. So I think Dan's going to be scrappy enough to survive to the decision, Marcel, but I expect Islam to win for sure. So, the minus 600 is a little disrespectful, obviously, but at the same time, I mean, it does make sense too. What do you think, Marcel?
Yeah, I always got people pissed off for this, what I'm saying. But Dan Hooker, to me, isn't a top 5 fighter. He can make it competitive with these guys. But he isn't a top 5 fighter. He's top 10 in my opinion. And in his mind, he thinks he's the best because he trains with Adesanya, with Volkanovski. And
he also had a close fight though last year with Poirier. It was super close.
That's what I say. He can make it competitive with these guys, but I don't see him as a top guy. I see Poirier as a top guy. I don't see it with Hooker, and it's no disrespect to him because he's a great fighter. Don't get me wrong, but somewhere down the way, he became like, how do you say that? Almost kind of cocky, in my opinion. Not really likable to me. Before he was, but I don't know what happened to him. He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong. I think Islam Makhachev has way more potential than Dan Hooker, in this division. He's still young as well. I don't say Hooker is old, but Makhachev, his striking is becoming better, in my opinion. His grappling already very good. His wrestling. Got one loss on his record. Was a one-punch knockout against Adriano Martins years ago, and dude, he submitted Moises last time in the 4th round. That's impressive in my opinion. Moises is a good fighter, definitely good on ground. I'm taking Makhachev all day over Hooker, but not with a finish. I think he decisions him. I think Hooker is tough. He can sit it out for 15 minutes, and but I think Makhachev will win, likely 30-27.
Makhachev by decisions plus 100, so that's better odds than minus 700 if you want to take a shot at that, because I think that's most likely way he wins.
Also,
go ahead.
Also, the thing is, Hooker, the last time he won against Nasrat was with a lot of wrestling in it. He's not going to wrestle Makhachev, man, or at least he's not going to be better at wrestling against Makhachev, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So he probably has to strike with him, but I think Makhachev takes him to the ground. So
Quinn says he's worried for Hooker here. Yeah, without Behrman in his corner, that's true. Nasrat no business either with Hooker, so Hooker got to get back to get the win call. Kind of. Me and Marcel picked Nasrat. It wasn't our best pick. We'll just say that. I didn't expect Dan Hooker. I didn't expect Dan Hooker to wrestle, though. I'll say that too. Hooker hanging with the upset. I hope, but Islam's getting the win. Oh, he's gonna win for sure. Be nice if Dan won, obviously, but I don't think he will. All right, Petr Yan and Cory Sandhagen, co-main event for the vacant bantamweight belt. Petr Yan minus 225, plus 185 for Cory Sandhagen. What do you think, Marcel? You like the favor or the underdog in this one?
Yeah, man, Peter's second title defense, right? Really looking forward to this one. Sandhagen pretty much got what he deserved, in my opinion. I think he defeated TJ Dillashaw. He didn't got the decision there. Rob Font was an option, but he had to fight with Aldo lined up, so got Cory Sandhagen. I have no problem with it at all. Fun matchup, I think. Petr Yan has looked amazing so far in the UFC. I haven't seen him lose. And even against Sterling, he looked good, man. Many people say he lost the first 2 rounds, but I think he did very well in those rounds as well. So I don't really saw that. Maybe 1 round, but he won the majority of the fight, in my opinion. Until that knee, looked really good so far in the UFC. Like I said, against Aldo, did well. Now we fought Sandhagen. Sandhagen, yeah, man. That knockout over Marlon Moraes, the spinning wheel kick, or what was that? And the Edgar fight with the knockout, really good. Against TJ Dillashaw, competitive fight. I think he won 48-47, didn't got the victory. I think stylistically might be the most difficult fight for Petr Yan, to be honest, in the division, man. But I'm much more intrigued with Petr Yan against Sandhagen than Petr Yan against Sterling too, but to be really honest. I'm still thinking Yan. I think he's the best. But I'm going with a decision. I don't see him finishing Cory Sandhagen, so I'm going with Petr Yan for a decision.
Throw your picks in the comments for these 2 title fights, guys. I want to hear what people think about this one. So, yeah, I love the fight. I have no problem with Cory getting the fight. Rob Font wasn't available. TJ wasn't available. Sterling wasn't available. He already fought Aldo, so it's the next natural choice. Great fight. Could have easily been the fight had he won the decision against Dillashaw, which was close. This is an awesome fight. And I do think Cory Sandhagen has a chance in this fight because he's such a great striker and he's so unpredictable on the feet. But, Yan is showing a pretty good chin through his career. Just dropped the one time by Dodson. Otherwise, he's the one who's dropping guys. And, for me, I really like Cory Sandhagen. I love the striking. I love the length and everything. But the hole we saw in the game, again, is the grappling and just being controlled. And I think Petr, Marcel, everyone's talking about this. He had 7 takedowns against Sterling. He got 7 takedowns.
Yeah.
Like, this guy's wrestling's really good, and I think that's the difference. I think it actually is the grappling. And I look back to that fight with Aldo where he took him down, was pounding him out. I think he could do something similar. I don't know if he finishes Sandhagen, who seems really, really tough, but I like Yan to win the fight. I think it's hard to go against him, I just think he's the better all-around fighter. And quite frankly, he should be undefeated in the UFC right now. Let's be real. So he should win. Sandhagen's great, but I think he's going to lose the fight. Let me get these comments, though, guys. Doug says, yeah, it's a true champ. I like Cory, but I think Jan's going to use his wrestling. Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. So we have the same exact take. I agree too, Kevin, which is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, Rivera was winning the fight. He was winning, I think, the first 2 rounds, and the last 10 seconds he got knocked down. It was so weird. Yeah, he would have won the fight. So that is weird. Jimmy by the way, I saw Jimmy. Did you see he said he has some news coming? I don't know if he signed anywhere.
I don't know. I think he fought out of his contract, and I don't know what's
maybe he's going to Bellator or something. That would make he's used to fight there, I think.
I actually hope he signs with PFL, man.
Or PFL would be good for maybe if they do a bantamweight tournament. I don't know if they're going to do one next year. Saying he's top 5, obviously. I mean, no one's saying he's not, and he might have beat TJ. Kevin says if Tay loses this, he'll have losses to Sterling, TJ, and Jan. It does leave him in a tough spot, Kevin. I agree, but I mean, at the same time, I think we'll respect him as a great fighter. At that point, though, it's tough to go back to the title. He'd have to consider changing a division.
This is his chance he has to jump on. If he wins this fight, he is pretty much guaranteed a rematch with Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah,
a rematch he's probably not getting anytime soon if he didn't accept this fight. So
and I'm still surprised how quick Aljo washed him in that fight. Like that was, I thought that was surprising how quick he submitted him. All right, let's go to the main event. Marcel, Jan Blachowicz against Glover Teixeira, UFC Light Heavyweight Championship. Jan is a big favorite here, minus 290, plus 245 for Glover. The odds keep going up every time I look at them on Jan, Marcel. And I'll just start off here. I think it's for good reason. I got to be honest with you guys. This fight was announced 6 months ago. As soon as they were announced, I liked Jan. Marcel, I like him in this fight. I love the guy. I love both guys. They're both awesome. But
you always like Jan.
I love both. I love Glover, too. Glover's a longtime favorite of mine. I love the guy. But, he's turning 42 tomorrow, I want to say, Thursday. He'll be 42 years old. I mean, I think he would be the oldest champ, right, besides Randy Couture. I just can't see that really happening. Jan is in his – even though he's 38, I actually think he's kind of in his prime right now, and he's looked amazing lately. 5 straight wins. And, again, a guy who's traditionally a striker, but he's added wrestling to his game now, and that's why I think it's kind of a bad matchup for Glover because I think Jan can grapple with him now in addition to striking him on the feet. So I think it's going to be like kind of a competitive fight for a couple of rounds, but I think eventually, Jan either catches him and finishes him or just wins the decision, Marcel. But I really like Jan to win the fight. I really feel confident he wins this fight. What do you think?
Man, I really like both guys, and I think everybody would love to see Glover Teixeira once get a UFC belt, but I don't see it happening, to be really honest, man, against Jan. Jan has looked so good lately, in my opinion. There was a moment where I picked Devin Clark to beat him, Jan Blachowicz, at a certain moment, and I thought that was Jan's UFC career. He was gone. But, man, he got crazy back, and, I mean, he has so much heart, legendary Polish power, right, and he does so well. Teixeira, he's a veteran, man. He's good. You saw what he could do against Thiago Santos, Anthony Smith, Thing is, I think that Jan lands a very hard blow to the head of Glover in the first round. I think he puts him away, either with ground and pound TKO or with a clean knockout. So I'm going with Jan in the first round knockout.
Early knockout.
That's really what I feel.
I got a guy on my bowling team on Monday nights, and he's the big MMA fan too. And I was asking about the fight. He thinks he's going to knock him out in the first round too. But I was like, I think it's going to go a little later. So I actually kind of think it's going to be a little bit later than that. But I think he probably finishes him. Yeah. CM Hawk saying he thinks Glover and Jan will rock each other with heavy shots. Glover's going to finish him eventually. Yeah, it's possible. I like Jan, but didn't think he's allowed to be a favorite. I missed my dog money, Jan. Me too. I bet on him against Luke Rockhold, Israel. Yeah, a couple. Rockhold too. That was amazing. That was so nice. Glover should try to grapple. I agree. I mean, obviously, but I do think that Jan's grappling, is probably good enough now that he can defend takedowns. We'll see though. Like it's not the same guy that fought Patrick Cummins. Remember that when well Glover deserves a shot. Polish power should have stayed. I think Glover's gonna use the clinch to take away Jan's kicks, but Glover's past prime. Jan, 4th round TKO. Doug, I kind of feel the same as you. I think a fourth round TKO. That's what I'm feeling too, buddy. The fight with Izzy was best showing. I bet him on that fight, and I had a good read on this guy. I think I have a really good read on Jan Blachowicz right now, and I love the guy. So that's the breakdown, guys, for UFC 267. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead, Marcel.
Many people got nuts with you when you said Jan was going to be defeated as well. So I was so happy for you when it happened. So
I know. I remember when Rose fought Wei Li. That too was like kind of crazy. I mean, I made some bad picks, but I made some good bold ones too. And it's fun. It's fun to pick underdogs too sometimes. Marcel. Like if you just pick the favorites, it gets a little boring. So, all right. We got a few other things to talk about here. We don't have a lot of time left. I got to get going, but we got a few minutes left. We'll talk about Contender Series and PFL quickly. And CM Talks is asking quickly about Tapiri and Mobstar. I think we talked about it yesterday in the podcast, I want to say. I can't remember who else, so I kind of lean towards Topuria, but a great fight. Any thoughts on that quickly, Marcel?
No, I have to look into it first. But
I think that's what you said yesterday too.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's do Contender Series really quick. Okay, so we'll go through the card really fast here. Not a full breakdown, but we'll
just do quick picks.
Yeah, quick picks, exactly. So let's look at this fight. We got this is the main event: Gaji Omar Gazidev against Jancy Silva, and Gazi minus 550, Jancy Silva plus 425. Pretty sure Gazi wins the fight. Marcel, you like him?
Slightly lean. I think Jancy's good as well. So yeah,
the odds are a little high actually. Minus 550. Yeah, they look a little high. Next fight: Christian Quinones against Long Jiao. Same odds, minus 550 plus 425. What do you think about that one?
Quinones wins the fight.
I like him too in that fight. Jiao got a padded record, man. There's a lot of guys in this card with padded records, including this scrub who I know Marcel wants to talk about here. Oran Kalon takes on Javid Basarat. So we didn't get a chance to talk about this yesterday, but Oran Kalon this weight. This guy's also 36 years old. He's on Contender Series. He's not 40. He's 36, by the way. So Marcel, he's 36. So I showed that to you yesterday, I think, right? For his age. He's not 40 because you guys have 40 on Tapology. He's 36.
Yes, it's changed.
Oh, it's changed. There you go. Good job. Yeah, I mean, the guy called the guy terrorist. Like, I know you have some quick thoughts on this because I know you wanted to say something yesterday. Anything?
I mean, there's a really shady kind of thing with Oran Kalan where he is like with a nationalist group, that kind of stuff, that he has fights on his record that didn't even happen, that he paid promoters or fighters to get wins to put on his record. You know, there's really shady stuff with the dude. And I think he's going to get stopped by Javid Basharat, obviously, man. I think Basharat will win the fight because I think Basharat is a good fighter. Kalan, he's not going to win that fight, you know. And there was, we all saw what happened yesterday. Just stupid, you know. I mean, what can you say about it? I think the best answer for Javid is to knock him out, probably. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hope he knocks him out because this guy's a scrub. Let's go to the next fight. Kui Yan against Karine Silva. Silva minus 280, Yan plus 240. You think the underdog can win this one, Yan?
I'm taking Silva on this one, man.
Yeah.
I think Silva will win. I think she's the teammate with the Jancy Silva guy. I don't even know if they're related, but they are definitely training with each other.
Oh, so, really? Okay, yeah. That makes sense.
So I'm taking Karine here to win.
I don't have a lot of knowledge about these two fighters, I'll be honest with you. Karine, you know, she's been around for a while, though. I do know that, so I understand why she's favored. I just think the odds are a little bit high because Yan is pretty physically strong. A couple other fights here. We got Manuel Torres against Colton England. England minus 157, Torres plus 137. What do you think of this one quickly?
Difficult, man. I might go for Manny Torres here, but I'm not sure at all. Colton England is pretty decent as well. So,
yeah.
What do you think?
I was leaning towards Torres a little bit too. That was my slight lead, but you know, I think Colton's looked pretty good in Fury Fighting's championship. Mm-hmm. So, but I don't really know, man. I mean, we'll see. That's not a fight I would bet on. I'll say that right now. Last fight, Olivier Murad against Bin G minus 290, Murad plus 245. Quick thoughts?
I only saw Murad fight once against Muhammad John Naimov in Titan. He did pretty well. I'm going with him. I don't know too much about the Chinese guy, to be really honest. Si-Bin. I know he fought at one championship, I think, but I really can't really recall his fights in one championship. But yeah. I know he fought there many times.
Yeah, like almost all his fights are there. So yeah, I think he's going to win the fight, but it's just tough, man. These I think I want to say they're like not Ultimate Fighter China performances to two fighters, right? Some of these guys.
Some are, yeah.
So like
definitely the girl is definitely.
Yeah, I just don't know a lot about them, Marcel. I need to watch them fight. I don't really like betting on Contender Series guys. I feel like it's really tough to bet on. There's so many upsets. We just don't have a lot of information. There are some good lines sometimes, especially with props, though. I will say that too. All right, let's go to PFL, guys. We're going to do this last minute. We're going to go overtime here, Marcel, by a few minutes, but that's okay.
Quick picks.
Yeah, quick picks. Exactly. So let's go to the bottom here. Don Madge taking on Nathan Williams. Odds for let me pull the odds up too, Marcel. I should mention the odds. Don Madge minus 620 plus 460 for Nathan Williams. Yeah, Don Madge is going to win this fight.
Those are Bellator odds, man. Yeah, Don Madge.
Yeah, no, I agree. Julia Budd and Caitlin Young. Julia Budd minus 440. Caitlin Young plus 350. Julia Budd wins this fight too. Another another type of Bellator fight. Another fight where the favorite's going to win. Omari Akhmedov against Jordan Young. Akhmedov minus 600, plus 425 for Jordan Young. Who do you like that one?
Omari Akhmedov.
I'm just going to see what if you parlay all three of those when it comes to minus 157. Honestly, I don't think that's a terrible bet. I think all three of them win easily. Marcel, don't you? Madge, Bud, and Akhmedov, I think they'll win really easily.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, this is fucked up how they put $1 million fights in the prelims. Come on.
What the hell?
This is really stupid. This is what I'm saying. Like PFL just makes me scratch my head because they got Clarissa Shields on the main card. I know she's a big name, but she's not fighting for $1 million. This is kind of disrespectful to these guys. And how did they pick these guys to go on the prelims? Marcel, like, why did these guys get the short and the stick? Yeah. Loic Radzhabov and Roush Manfield. Radzhabov minus 225, Manfield plus 185. You think Manfield can get another upset or Radzhabov wins?
Ooh, I would likely to pick Radzhabov here, man. I like Roush Manfield. He looked pretty well in all of his fights so far. I think he only lost the first one against Martinez, which was a close fight. But I'm going with Radzhabov here.
I would lean towards Radzhabov, but I'm not completely sold on him. And honestly, I think that the odds are too high. I wouldn't bet on this guy. He just lost a couple of fights ago to that Alex Martinez guy. And I do think that Roush, he's pulled off some upsets, man. He's kind of an underrated guy that people don't think is great, and he's pulled off 3 upsets, I think, in a row. So I think he's got a decent chance for us. I think it's dog or pass, I'll be honest. Antonio Carlos Jr. versus Martin Hamlet. Odds for this one, minus 175 for Jr., plus 155 for Hamlet. What do you think?
Carlos Jr., by using his fight IQ this time. So
yeah, you think so, eh?
Yeah.
This is kind of a tough one, but seeing Hamlet get submitted 2 fights ago was really, really sketchy, right?
Hey man, if he doesn't use his fight IQ to win $1 million, I mean, the dude should have his way with him on the ground. In my opinion.
Junior, he got cut by the UFC. I want to say after losing to Brad Tavares. I think it was this year, and it's like it's turned out much better for him. He probably is going to win this fight, but Hamlet is a dangerous guy too, so I'll give Hamlet some credit. But again, seeing it submitted by Corey Hendricks that against Vice's Jr., that's not good. All right, Motley Cabula against Chris Wade. Odds for this one. Cabula minus 170, Chris Wade plus 150. Marcel, I love Chris Wade, but I think this is kind of a bad fight for him, man. Cabula is going to win the fight.
Dude, I love Motley. Been high on him for years, So, yeah, for sure. Wade is a good fighter, don't get me wrong. Yeah. Motley, he should have got the unanimous decision win against Loughnane. I like Loughnane a lot, but that wasn't a split one. Motley wins this fight, for sure.
Bruno Campoloza against Ante Delia. This is a rematch. They fought a few months ago. Delia was a massive favorite. He was like minus 600 and got knocked out. Now Campoloza is the favorite, minus 185. Delia plus 160. So anytime that happens, guys, you have to just kind of take a step back for a sec because there's a big change of perception. These guys, like, I like Campoloza, Marcel, but I think Delia is legit too. So in a heavyweight fight, man, I'm kind of thinking it's dog or pass, even though he got knocked out by this guy. I know it's crazy. It sounds crazy, but every fight's different. So, any thoughts? Yeah.
How crazy would this be if Delia wins? Because he was 1 year ago, was supposed to fight in the UFC against Cyril Gane on short notice, but the PFL didn't allow him and say, get back here.
It worked pretty well for him, huh?
yeah, definitely. So that would be great, for him. But close fight, not a close fight, but just hard to predict. You know what I mean? I think one punch can put away either one, in my opinion. So I don't really want to give a pick here because I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay, so let's go. A couple of our fights left. Clarissa Shields against Abigail Montez. Huge odds. Shields, or not huge, actually, minus 300. Not that big. Plus 250 on Montez. What do you think?
Montez decision. No, just kidding. Probably Shields. I'm going with Shields.
Shields for sure. Montez, for what I've heard, is like a kickboxer. And yeah, she does have, I think, some knockouts, but I think it could be the detriment of her, Marcel, going up against someone like Shields that has that power. So, I think that's it's a bad matchup for her. Now, 2 more fights left quickly. Magomed Kirov against Ray Cooper III, rematch for the welterweight championship. I love Ray Cooper, man. He's a great fighter, but we saw this fight a couple years ago. Magomed won. I expect him to win again. Marcel?
For sure. Magomed Kirov, the Dagestani Eminem. Yeah.
And the last one, Marcel, Kayla Harrison, minus 5,000 against Kayla Guerrero plus 1,400. So, what do you think, Marcel? Minus 5,000, does she win?
Kayla Harrison is every year like, hey, another million. Hey, another million. Great, thank you, another million. Yeah, for sure she's going to win. I would be super surprised if she didn't. No disrespect to Guardado, but she's just like 5 steps ahead of every other woman in that division. So, yeah. I
swear she has the best job on the earth. Like, she has to fight people that aren't like even close to where she is, and she wins $1 million. Like, I almost wonder if the other fighters in like the UFC, like the champs, are even like a little jealous of her, I feel like she's got an easy gig. All right, that's it for today, guys. Really appreciate everyone sticking with us. It was a lot of fun. Give our picks for UFC, Contender Series, and PFL. Marcel, plug your stuff. Let's get out of here.
It's still the same, guys. Big Marcel 24, Twitter, Instagram, MMADNA.nl, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube.
Let me get these comments, guys, and I'll get out of here. CM Hawk says, I saw an interview a few weeks ago on the podcast with Don Madge where he says that due to his relationship with Cyborg, the UFC didn't keep him much active. That makes sense. I think they're like good friends because Cyborg used to like go to South Africa and do some charity work, honestly. Doug says he enjoyed the podcast. Can't wait for the next one. Hey, thanks for having us, man. Or thanks for joining us, I should say. And Tristan, man, glad to have you here. And same with you, CM Hawk. All right, you guys can follow me on Twitter at @Martin Podcast, MMAOddsBreaker.com. It's on iTunes, Spotify, all those places, guys. You can find your podcast, SoundCloud, Anchor, all those places. I'm also available at BJPen.com, MiamiNews.com, Elite Fantasy, Elite Sports Betting, the All-Star, and Bookies. So have a great day, guys. Have a great week. And we're back on Monday to recap what happens at UFC 267, PFL, and Dana White's Contender Series. Have a great week. Peace.